Sallu ala al-Habib sallallahu ta'ala ala Muhammad sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa alihi wasallam. Welcome back to our Leicester Fazari Medina Facebook page. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah Azza wa Jal, it is another blessed day, day of Friday, and this is the third Friday of the holy month of Ramadan. May Allah Azza wa Jal give you all the blessings of this beautiful month. There are many benefits of reciting the Durood Sharif upon the Prophet sallallahu ta'ala wasallam, and especially for Friday. And on day of Friday, it is narrated that whoever recites the Durood Sharif upon the Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam 200 times a day, Allah Azza wa Jal will forgive 200 years of his sins. Sallu ala al-Habib sallallahu ta'ala ala Muhammad sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam. My apologies for slight delay in coming live today. I don't think anything might have been waiting, but let's just say that mashallah Kamran Bhai is watching. Jazakallah khair Kamran Bhai, you've given reply to the salam. Today I'll be looking here and there because my laptop's all over the place. And there was a bit of a technical hiccup as it happens that it led to the delay. Anyway, we are here inshallah, and the topic is sleep problems in children. Yesterday we did cover quite a few things, the sleep difficulties that the children can experience, especially in terms of separation anxiety. And we discussed a lot about having a routine when it comes to the sleep matters of the children, and the parents themselves adopting a routine. And we looked at some techniques that the mothers can use during the infancy to help the children to go to sleep. Which is using skills like giving them a bath at the bedtime, putting them into sort of like sleep clothes, cuddle them, hug them, and put the sort of make the sleep hygiene, like meaning that the room should be dark, it should be not too cold and not too hot, and the noise should be kept to a minimum, especially at the night time. And inshallah, with the help of this, then what would happen is that your child will obviously go to sleep. Once we establish the routine, then hopefully this goes on for the rest of the life. The initial importance is of establishing a routine with your children. And that's where most of the parents can go wrong. And then the child will learn these bad habits. Some of these will be from the parents themselves, and some of these will be because of the lack of implementation of the rules and the regulations. And the other important thing that we learned about sleeping was that allow this half an hour, 45 minutes wind down time. What do I mean by wind down time is that if your child's busy watching, whatever on the screen, social media, playing games, or playing with other toys and so forth, then their minds are too active. They're not going to sort of directly go to the sleep. So help your child half an hour, 45 minutes before the bedtime. Say to them, now let's sort of like wind everything up. It's time to go to bed. And you've got half an hour to get ready, brush your teeth, put your clothes on. It's a story time. Give them a cuddle, give them a hug and a kiss, make them cozy. And these are more than enough techniques that will allow your child to condition their brain that it's time to go to sleep. We did cover some of the things yesterday in terms of nightmares and night terrors and the sleepwalking and sort of hunger and the fear of dark. These are all of the issues and the problems that could keep a child disturbed at night. And so we looked at it that if the child's afraid of the dark, then have some sort of dim light in the room that will help the child feel less anxious. Sometimes what you can do, which I forgot to mention yesterday, is that you can use anything else that the child finds comfort from. Sometimes these can be toys, sometimes these can be other items. And alhamdulillah, one of the way to find the comfort is to read some of the wird and wazaif that alhamdulillah spiritual cures, what we call as Shaykh Tariqat Amir al-Sunnat has mentioned in a couple of his booklets. One of these is the 40 spiritual cures, 40 ruhani ilaj. And as parent, we can use this skill to condition the mind of the child that once they read these wazaif, inshallah, they will be fine. Now, obviously, you would expect a child to be 5 or 6 years of age to be able to do this. But if they are less than 5 or 6 years of age where they can't actually read, then you can read and blow on them. And to be honest, comfort the child that once I blow upon them, they will be all fine. And that can act as a trigger for the child to obviously realize that, to condition their brain that they will be fine. They don't need to worry. And sometimes you need additional sort of things, what I said, as anything that the child finds comfort from. So sometimes it could be a toy or a special pillow. So use these as an aid to help the child to settle down if they are anxious. Hunger, we discovered that sometimes the child may be a little bit hungry as well. So make sure that they do have a bit of a snack as and when needed, but clearly they must brush their teeth after the snack. And before I go to the new topic, the only thing that was left was night terror and sleepwalking. Just to summarize, night terrors, they usually tend to happen about 2 hours, roughly around 2 hours after the child's fallen asleep. So if they're gone to sleep at 9 o'clock, usually around 11 o'clock, the child will have a night terror. Night terror is the child is asleep. It's a sleep disturbance issue, what we call as parasomnia. The child is not awake. They may be screaming, their eyes may be wide open, but you try to speak to them, they won't be responding. Similarly with sleepwalking, again, it's another sleep problem. However, both of these can resolve on their own. You don't need to be worried about it. But what you could do is that if you know your child has a night terror around 11 o'clock, just half an hour before that, wake your child up. Wake them up, okay? And just make sure that they get awake from the sleep, and then comfort them back to sleep. And inshallah, this will actually resolve the matter. And you'll need to do that for about a week or two, and inshallah after that it will disappear. Now let's come to some other problems that the child could have or experience which could lead to sleep difficulties. Sallu ala al-Habib sallallahu ta'ala ala Muhammad sallallahu ta'ala sallam. I'm just looking at my laptop. Are there any viewers are watching? If you have any questions, you could actually ask me those questions as well. And if I know the answer, I will try to share the answer with you. If I don't, then obviously I'll try to find it out and then put it in the comment after the show, after the program. So let's look at some of the medical problems that could be the cause of sleep disturbance. And one of the common one is what we call as, from a medical point of view, sleep apnea. What is sleep apnea? It's basically what happens is that the child stops breathing. This is also a problem in adults as well. And the child stops breathing because their airways become closed. And when their airways, like breathing tube, becomes closed, I'll discuss with you what could be the causes for these. And the brain receives no oxygen for a moment. And then the brain tells the child, wake up, you need to breathe. Otherwise, I'm going to die. So the child wakes up, and then they sit up or whatever, or they change their position and they take another breath. And what happens as a result of this is that this frequent waking, because it won't happen just once, their airways will keep getting blocked many times during the night. So they will be waking up. However, because this wakeful period is so small, only about few seconds, they will not have any memory of this. So in their own mind, they will be asleep because they can't recall any of this, because it's way too short for the brain to memorize that they woke up. So when they wake up in the morning, they will be feeling tired. They will be feeling as if they've not had a good sleep. And at school, they will be tired. They will not be able to concentrate. They will become irritable, and so on and so forth. So these are the hallmarks of sleep apnea. So what could cause a sleep apnea is basically two very common problems with children. Tonsils, enlarged tonsils. Sorry, I shouldn't say tonsillitis. Tonsillitis is something different, which is the infection of the tonsils. But enlarged tonsils, big tonsils, what they can do is they can actually, when you're asleep, your muscles are relaxed in your airways. And what happens is that they can block your airways, especially if you are sleeping on your back. Now, once you're asleep, you can't control that what position you are in. But mostly what happens is that if you're lying on your back, the big tonsils, they can actually block your airways, and that can cause a sleep apnea, and then the child has to wake up. The second thing is also there's another what we call as a gland called adenoid. Some children can have large adenoid glands. They're around the same place behind the thyroids. I don't know whether it's behind or in front, most likely behind the thyroids or just about close to the thyroid. If the adenoid glands are enlarged, then they can also be causing sleep apnea. So if you find that your child is snoring, and then in the morning they wake up a bit groggy, bit tired, and the school say that they're not able to concentrate, and you feel that they, it is hard, and then they may be falling asleep during the daytime, and they're snoring, then clearly you know that this is the problem. So you need to actually go and see your GP, and that could obviously help the child. صلوا على الحبيب صلى الله تعالى على محمد صلى الله تعالى عليه وآله وسلم. Now, this now brings me to sleep problems in teenage children. Before I actually go to that, I think I should mention one other problem, which is bedwetting. Sometimes children can have bedwetting. Now, clearly, if they're going to wet the bed, then that can also be, from a practical point of view, a problem lead to waking up during the night, and then all the palaver of cleaning up and so on and so forth. And that can disturb. If a child's wetting the bed, usually from around 5 years of age, you can expect a child not to be suffering from bedwetting. But if this persists, even after 5 years of age or 6 years of age, then this could be a medical problem or a psychological problem. So you do need to actually take the child to your GP, and they may need to do certain investigations. And all I can tell you is that bedwetting, even from a medical point of view, it's a problem that can be resolved, that can be helped significantly. Sometimes there is a surgical issue, and then you need to see the urologist. But all in all, bedwetting is something that will be treated by your doctor. So do go and see the doctor if your child after the age of 5 keeps on wetting the bed. Now let's move to the teenagers. So we talked about infant, we talked about young children, and now we are talking about a little bit old children, which is 11, 12, 13, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Teenage years. So whether they begin from 12 or 13 is a bit of a linguistic debate. That do you need to have teen in the age for them to be classed as a teenager? But clearly, somewhere from 11, 12 onwards, they can be classed as teenagers. So there's no hard and fast rule on this. Sallu ala al-Habib sallallahu ta'ala ala Muhammad sallallahu ta'ala wasallam. Now, teenage years clearly is a very exciting time of life. It's a very turbulent time of life. And clearly there are many hormonal changes within our body. There are physical characteristics that are going to change within our body. And it is going to give rise to a lot of emotional storm. Okay. And I can fully understand, by being a doctor, from a medical point of view and from a psychological point of view. And this is a very difficult time for teenagers, and the parents need to give all support that they can to their teenage children. It's only a matter of a year or two until their body resettles with their new identity, with their new sort of like hormone levels, with their new sort of body characteristics and everything, and the role that they need to obviously adopt, because clearly the responsibility is going to be higher and higher. Now, all of this can lead to a lot of anxiety. There are a lot of peer pressures. The child is following their peers. There are lots of obviously issues at school, the identity issue, who am I, what sort of dress should I wear, and children can be criticized by each other at school as well, and especially also the parents as well. So all in all, this can lead to sometimes disturbance of the sleep. So what can be causes of sleep problems? As I said, one of them is anxiety, stress, and parents need to obviously be on the lookout for these problems. The child may be sensitive, they may not be able to tell you themselves that what is the problem. So you need to have a good relationship, a friendly relationship with your child, and you need to be asking them questions. Is anything that is bothering you? How are you at school? And how are you with your friends? And clearly, don't wait for the problem to happen and then start asking. You need to be asking these questions even if your child is well, has no problem. What's the aim of this? Is then your child develops a relationship of trust in you, and they will then come to you themselves without you asking. So do ask your children if they're experiencing any problem, and most commonly, if it is anxiety that is leading to sleep difficulty, then it could be bullying, it could be stress of homework, it could be obviously other challenges that they're facing with their friends and so forth. And don't forget that this could also be cyber bullying as well. So parents need to have a good understanding, and whatever is the problem, if the bullying is a problem, whether cyber bullying or physical bullying, then you need to go to the school and speak to whoever is their safeguarding lead and ask them that my child is suffering from bullying from this school, and I want a full meeting, I want a full plan, so how you will obviously address this. Now, bear in mind the schools are very, very busy. Yes, they do educate about bullying and they've got the policies to follow, but clearly what happens is that amongst other things, teachers are extremely busy, but these things can actually be left behind under the carpet. So if the parents are proactive and they go and speak to the teachers, this will not get resolved. And not just once, go many times. You may have to go many times. Don't be rude, don't be angry. It's a problem. You have to obviously get it resolved by discussing with the teachers of your child. So that will hopefully resolve the issues. If it's cyberbullying, again, your school can help. If there are friends and other people who are causing problems and so forth, then you can try to resolve that by using appropriate approaches. Never ever approach the other child directly. That will cause problems. Clearly, if you speak to them, they will then speak to their parents, and then clearly you could have their parent coming knocking at your door and causing all sort of problems and issues. Now, one of the things obviously with teenagers is that in this day and age, usually teenagers would have mobile phones. So what they would be doing is that they will be in their bed and they've got hundreds of ways to hide from their parents, how they will be using the mobile phone under the duvet and under the pillow or whatever. They're very clever. So parents have to be on their toes to actually be familiar with all these techniques that the teenagers use to hide their mobile phone in their bedroom and how they use it. Keep an eye on it. It's very, very difficult to detach from mobile phone and social media and the messaging and so forth. So number one, it will keep their brain active. Number two, the light that is being emitted by the screen, the melatonin hormone that we discussed that helps you go to sleep, it only is released when it is dark. Okay, so the more of it is released when it is dark. So if melatonin is not released, they're not going to go to sleep. Okay, and clearly then this could also be worrying, could lead to stress and so on and so forth, what they're discussing, what they're watching and so forth. So the parents, even before they buy a mobile phone with their child, sit with your child and have an agreement write down an agreement. Okay, write down an agreement and agree with your child that whenever they're going to get the phone, at such and such time when they go to bed, the mobile phone has to be left in the parents' bedroom or locked up somewhere. You have to have that agreement with the child before you even buy them the phone. Why do you have to have an agreement? Because what happens is that if you agree with the child, write it down, you sign it, the child signs it, keep that paper safe. Now, I use that technique with my own children as well. In some ways, some of the behaviors, I actually agree with them, write down the agreement, get them to sign, display it where they can see it. And if they break that rule next time, then I show them that, okay, this was the rule, you agreed to it. Now, why are you complaining? So this will help you in the future to resolve these matters and the problems. So screens is something that the parents can resolve the issue, they can resolve the problem, and hopefully this will help with the sleep. Stress and anxiety, bullying, abuse, I have discussed all of this. One of the problem with the teenagers is that they could be abusing drugs. Okay, so cannabis, smoking, if they get into the wrong company, which is very likely, is highly likely, especially if you look at the drug abuse in schools and the colleges, and especially amongst the teenage years, the statistics are absolutely frightening and scary. And almost 1 in 3 children, or up to 1 in 4 children, they experiment with drugs. So when they take drugs, these drugs, well, I mean, whether you call it even smoking, tobacco from smoking, or cannabis, what they call as weed, many different names. And in this day and age, there is an absolutely misconception, major misconception, that because it is legal to take, it cannot be harmful. Now, go and study. You can find out the information from the internet, from the relevant sources. There is actually a good website called Frank, Frank. I would advise all the parents to go and visit that website, Frank, Frank. It has got very good information from a medical point of view about all different types of drugs and what chemicals they are and how these chemicals affect our brain. In my clinical experience, I have seen young teenagers developing mental health problems by taking what we call as cannabis, coke, weed. There are all sort of different names for it. So it is serious. There are no such thing as soft drugs and hard drugs. Every drug is dangerous. Okay, so parents need to be having this information, and they need to be looking out for the signs of this. When a child starts abusing drugs, sleep problem is one of the major signs that they will experience. Anxiety, their eyes may be bloodshot, they may not be obviously able to wake up in the morning. When they have taken the drug, they may be talking weird stuff, they may be hallucinating, they may be able to smell different things, they will have distorted vision of time, and so on and so forth. So parents, be very careful that if there is a sleep problem, do sort of keep your eyes and ears open about drug abuse. Now, clearly, I don't want you to become an investigation officer and sit with your child and say, tell me if you're taking drugs or not. Certainly, this will be very destructive. But you then need to become a detective to do your groundwork. And once you realize that that is the problem, then you will, if you get angry, you will destroy it. You will completely destroy it with your child. Your child, if he or she is taking drugs, then they have become a victim of drug mafia. But they need your support. They don't need your anger. Okay, so that's another important aspect. One very common problem with the teenage sleep difficulties is use of caffeine. So caffeine, whether it comes from coffee, caffeine, whether it comes from caffeinated drinks, and almost all fizzy drinks would have caffeine in them. Caffeine keeps your brain active, and obviously once your brain is active, you're not going to go to sleep. Okay, and also these caffeinated drinks, they can make you pass urine more frequently than other normal drinks. So what would happen is that they will actually need to empty the bladder more frequently. So any of these caffeinated drinks at least 2 hours before bedtime, you should not have them, whether you are a teenager, whether you are an adult. So these caffeinated drinks, they can lead to sleep difficulties and sleep problems. So that's the summary of sleep problems in children and teenager. We spent almost 2 sessions. It's almost combined together a 1 hour sort of lecture. Have I got any questions? Riaz Aslam by saying Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. आप सही बात कर रहे हैं. जज़ाकल्लाह खैर. चले इंशाल्लाह अल्लाह ताला हमारे बच्चों को अपने हिफ्ज़ व अमान में रखे. लेकिन बच्चे हिफ्ज़ व अमान में तभी रहेंगे जब हम पेरेंट्स अच्छी तरह से उनका ख्याल रखेंगे. अल्लाह ताला ने हमारे ऊपर ये जिम्मेदारी आयद की है. बच्चे जो है ये अमानत हैं अल्लाह ताला की तरफ से, और इन बच्चों की तरबियत जो है वो हमने दीन के उसूलों के मुताबिक करनी है. दीन का इल्म हमारे पास होगा तो मैं आपको अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह, देखें मैं ये किसी दिखलावे की नीयत से नहीं कर रहा, लेकिन एक बात कर रहा हूँ कि मेरे पास बहुत सारा दुनियावी इल्म है. मेरे पास साइकोलॉजी का इल्म है, साइकाइट्री का इल्म है, मेरे पास मेडिकल नॉलेज है. लेकिन जितनी दीन इस्लाम की तालीमात में मैंने बेहतरी पाई है, उतना दुनियावी इल्म में वो चीज़ नहीं है. ठीक है, यकीनन मैं दुनियावी इल्म की नफी नहीं कर रहा, उससे भी फायदा होता है. लेकिन जब तक दीन इस्लाम की तालीमात हमारे पास नहीं होंगी, हम उन पर अमल नहीं करेंगे, तो हम सही मानों में दुनियावी इल्म का भी फायदा नहीं उठा सकेंगे. पैसा कमा लेना वो और बात है. अल्लाह ताला जिस हर एक की जो है वो जिसकी किस्मत में जितना है, और ज़रूरी नहीं कि पैसा नुकसानदेह चीज़ है, ऐसी बात भी नहीं है. पैसे का इस्तेमाल हम कैसे करते हैं, अगेन वो भी जब हमारे दीन इस्लाम की तालीमात का इल्म होगा, तो वो भी इंशाअल्लाह अज़्ज़ा वजल हमारा बेहतर से बेहतरीन हो जाएगा. बहरहाल आज के लिए इतना ही काफ़ी है. आई डिड स्टार्ट टॉकिंग in Urdu after Riaz Aslam bhai. MashaAllah, Riaz Aslam bhai is a very frequent viewer of our Facebook. May Allah Azza wa Jal protect you and your children and make everyone in your household pious, and may Allah Azza wa Jal shower his blessings in this beautiful month of Ramadan, and may Allah Azza wa Jal accept all these prayers for all of us. That is it for today. Do keep joining our Faidan Medina social media page, Facebook page. We do go live on YouTube, so subscribe to our YouTube page as well. Alhamdulillah, there are a number of different programs that are taking place. Clearly, there is a Dars Quran that happens 1:30 every Friday. There is a speech at 2 o'clock from the same page. There are also obviously Munajat Iftar Silsila that we do. There is a Tajweed class that happens, and Alhamdulillah, I come live every day, 20 to 5. Some days I do miss it, but I think I've only missed 2 days so far. But every day, 20 to 5, 3 days a week. Health is wealth, Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday. And then the other days, I speak to a scholar. I speak to one of the representative of services of Dawat Islami. And inshallah, tomorrow, I'll be speaking to our HR lead, Human Resources, Imran Khan from Radram, about how does Dawat Islami follow a professional approach in terms of recruiting our staff members and then looking after them in a professional way. Inshallah, tomorrow, don't forget to watch it, and do watch our other programs. Do like our page and share it as well. Sallu ala al-Habib, sallallahu ta'ala ala Muhammad sallallahu ta'ala.